One of the most important functionalities of any programming language is its input-output functionality. How does it accept its input from the end user and how does it displays its output to the main screen, right? In this video, which is the third chapter on the basics of programming for our Python for Data Science tutorial, we shall learn about the input-output in Python. In the last video, we discussed how to write a Python program in Visual Studio Code. Additionally, we saw how to execute and debug Python programs. Also, we saw the four primary components of a Python program. I'm Saurav Agarwal, you are watching Data at Simplified Data Science. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe because every week I'm putting new videos currently on Python for Data Science. So make sure to never miss a video. Let us quickly head over to the input output section and then we shall also check in VS Code how to perform, right? So basically when we perform input, there is one function in Python 3 which is called the input function. It accepts a prompt which you can specify in order to help the user know what is the desired input, right? It accepts a string based input. Now there would be a question, what if we want to take an input which is not a string, which could be rather a float type, an integer type, or it could be say a multiple inputs, right? You want to give multiple inputs. So let us quickly head over to the VS Code and see how we can do this. The same is also available here in this documentation, which will be available in our Telegram channel. If you haven't subscribed to the Telegram channel yet, I'll provide the link in the description. Okay, now let us start VS Code. We have already saw the setup of VS Code. We have coded our first program on VS Code. Now we shall create another program. Let me create a new file. Let us select the language Python. We already have the Python in our path. Okay, so if you see here, we will have the Python interpreter in our environment. We installed Python 3.9.8 and we have it here. So okay, let me zoom in a bit so that things become more clear to you. Let me close this up for time being. Now the way we take, first we will take a string out input, right? So let us take my name as input. So I will call the input function, pass the this prompt is optional by the way, right? If you do not give this prompt, there would not be any error. This is just to enhance readability, right? If you give this prompt, then the user would know what is the desired input. Enter your name. Now I give a colon and a space to make it more clear and readable. Okay, let me save this input in Python. Okay, now we shall open a terminal, new terminal. Since this is in the same path, I will give Python input in Python. This is the file name and see, it is asking for the prompt, enter your name. So I will enter my name, Saurav Agarwal. You could give a one letter or a two letter, that is, sorry, one word, two word, as many, like this is a string type. So there is no limitation as such. So this is our input being accepted. We did not print it. Let us also print and display this input to our screen. Sorry, print my name. Okay, now additionally, let me say, let us take the input also, say a random number. Okay, random number input. I wanted to take the input as name, but I would not for some privacy reasons. Okay, so the way we take is Python by default, Python 3 by default accepts all input as strings. We have to perform certain techniques, certain tasks. So here what we will do, we shall typecast it to the desired type. Enter a number. So whatever input you give, that will be typecasted, and if you are giving an integer input here, it will accept it as integer and then convert it to the int type. Let us also print the type. Print type my name. You remember this type functionality is used to return the data type of your variable, right? Type random number input. Let me also print this random number. Okay, let us save this using Ctrl S and re-execute this. Let me close this pop-up. Yeah, so it is asking for the name. Again, I will enter my name as Saurav. It printed my name, which is this command. Okay, you also see this is also the primary output, right? We are giving the output, displaying the output to our screen here. Let us enter a number as -2, so it prints as -2, and the type of the first variable, my name, is str, and the other is integer because we typecasted it. Now let us see how do we take multiple inputs. Now remember, Python is always going to accept inputs as a string. Now if you are going to pass multiple inputs and those inputs are space separated, then let us say we are taking 3 inputs. So we need to call the map function. We shall talk about this map function later when we talk of some special functionalities. But just understand, in order to take multiple inputs, you need to map. Now here we are taking multiple integral outputs. So you use the map function, pass the type that you want to typecast it to, and then call the input. Okay. Then enter 3 numbers, and you need to call the split function. Right, split function also accepts the separator here. If say you do not want to enter input using the space, rather you want to separate using comma, so you can pass a comma here. Okay, you can just explore around it. I'll also supply the documentation. There is nothing too much confusing here. Just go over and check it out. Okay, let us again save it and execute it. So again it is asking for my name, it is asking for random number, it is asking for 3 numbers, say 1, 5, 9. See, it prints the 3 numbers A, B, C. If I change the order of this, see, if I do A, C, B, then you will see the difference. Let me comment this out. Okay, to save time, enter 3 numbers 1, 5, 9. It should print 195. Okay, see, 195 is printed. Now you know how to take an input, how to convert that input to a specific type, say float type, integral type, how to take multiple inputs. Now additionally, if you want to take input to a list, the same thing. You just take, say for example, the list is L. We will talk about list as a data structure when we talk of data structures. But for the understanding, just understand this. We call the list over this map, we pass the data type, we call the input the same way, enter numbers, and we call the split function. Then let's print L. Okay, this also is not required. Now we also this enter numbers, say I enter 1, 3, 4, 7, 6. Now remember, we are entering space separated numbers here. Okay, if you want to separate it using some other character, say comma or say semicolon, you need to pass that as in the split. So you see our list is created with the numbers that we provided. So this is the way you take input in Python. Hope this makes sense. Hope you are able to understand how to take input in Python. Next we shall look at how to print output. Let us quickly see how to display output to the screen in Python. But before moving ahead, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure to subscribe so that you never miss a video. Now we already saw in our previous example, the program that we wrote, we used print statements in order to display the output to our end screen. So now you understand that print is the functionality which is used to display output to the screen in Python. Now additionally, there are certain other parameters that would be helpful to know for a print statement. For a print statement, you can pass any number of values separated by comma. You can pass keyword arguments as separator, SEP, end, file or flush. Now let me explain you what these parameters mean. SEP or separator denotes how would you want your output to be displayed. Let us see an example. Okay, let me quickly do print A, B, C. Sorry, A, B, yes, A, B and C. Let us define A, B, let us take A, B, C as input. Okay, and now what I will do additionally, I will specify the separator as this bar. Okay, now let us see how this output is displayed. Earlier we had a space separated, now we shall see what is the output. So let us take 3 numbers 3, 5, 7, enter. Okay, there are more inputs to be taken. You see the output to our this print statement is 3 bar 5 bar 7, which is the separator that we provided. So this is the use of sep. Now the other parameter end is used to denote how your last would be terminated. Here you see this last, it denotes the backslash n or the new line character. So whenever you print something additional, let us also see that. Okay, let me quickly do end is equal to, which is the default backslash n, and now let me do print hello. Let me comment out the other ones so that we don't want more confusions. Save it, execute it. 357 356. Okay, so you see this hello is printed in the next line because this print statement ended with a new line character. Now what if I don't want this to be printed to the next line, instead it should be printed with a space. So I give end as space. Again 3576. Okay, you see now this hello is printed with a space. So you understand these two parameters. The third parameter file is a file object. We shall talk about files when we deal with file objects in Python, but for now you don't need to go into the details, and for the general use cases we use only the values, separator and end as the parameters. You don't need to worry about the other two. Flush is used for the buffer if you want to keep things in the buffer or you want to flush everything to the main screen. Okay, now there is an additional functionality that Python 3 provides. Sometimes we want to format the output that we want to display to the main screen. Other than the separator and the end that we are denoting, we want to format it further, right? So there Python provides us two formatting options. One is using the string modulo percentage operator, and the other is using the format function. Let us see how these two work. Now the string modulo operator for formatting in Python works as you provide the format string and then with the percentage you provide the values. Let us see how this works. Okay, for an example I'll share this link in the description as well, so you can check that out and see, go ahead and play around how these things work, but let me just explain you briefly. So you see we have, this is your uh, this is your format string. Okay, now in this format string you see you have various characters as %d, %s, then you see %.2f. Now these are the conversion specifiers. Now these conversion specifiers tell the Python program what kind of input, what kind of value to expect in place of this conversion specifier. For example, here %d denotes that you are expecting an integer value to come in its place. For example, here you have provided 6, which is an integer, and it is replaced with the conversion specifier. %s denotes the string type. Okay, like you want to replace this with a string type. Percentage 2.2f, this denotes the number of precisions after the decimal point for a floating point number. Okay, so if you just play around with this, you will understand how this is working. Here is also one more example. Let me also zoom this a bit. Okay, you see how this is working. This is your format string, this is your modulo operator, and these are the values that you replace. Here the ordering of these values is significant, right? You cannot give bananas first, 6 then floating point. You have to specify it in the same order as you are specifying your conversion specifiers. This provides you greater flexibility in terms of the values that you are supplying to your print statement. If you want to use the same print statement for by changing the variables each time, right, repeatedly, or using certain computations you want to display the output, then these are very helpful. Okay, now the other type that we shall look at is the format function. The other formatting function that is used by Python is the string.format function. Now string.format function has an additional feature of specifying the values with respect to the name. You can specify the name of your conversion specifier. For instance, you are using the string as I have, you have to use this parenthesis in order to specify your conversion specifier instead of percentage. You are giving a name to the value that you are going to pass. You give a colon and then the type along with the width or the precision points that you want, right? So now next time when you are printing this, you can call txt, which is the string dot format. You can call the parameter an equal to 4, and this an equal to 4 would be replaced here. So the output would be I have 4.00 rupees, because you specified the floating precision to be 2. So you see 2 decimal places after, so 2 decimal places here, right? Similarly, you can also make changes and look around. See, for instance, another example you can give within this parenthesis. If you don't want to specify a name, if you don't want to specify any name for it, then you can directly give this braces and then pass an ordered list of values or an ordered sequence of values for your print statement. Hope you now understand how to take input and how to display output to your main screen. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. See you in the next lecture. Have a nice day. Have a smooth learning experience. Jai Hind. Bye bye.